Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my journey in beauty. Today's video is my second throwing shade update, and I am very excited to show you the looks that I created this month. This project is in collaboration with the Pantastic Ladies on Facebook. I'm going to have the link below in case you're interested. But the idea of this project is that every month you randomly select 3 palettes. The first week you use the first palette, the second week you use the second palette, the third week you use the third palette, and then the fourth week you use all 3 palettes to create one look. The idea is that you create at least one look per week with each of your palettes. Last month I chose the BH Back to Brazil palette for week 1. This is what the palette looks like. Boom. This is a super bright palette. This is always a palette I reach for whenever we do color challenges, and I'm going to show you the look that I created right now. All right, so these are the colors that I used the first week from the Take Me Back to Brazil palette. I had challenged myself last month, or said that I thought I was going to do like a green blue look because I really hadn't yet from this palette. Yes, I have a weird hair. It's not behaving back here, but I did use this bright green, like fluorescent green right here, this mid-tone turquoise, this beautiful, this is kind of like a periwinkle blue, and it's got a unique shift to it. It is very similar to the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, the shade Twerk. And then this is like a mint green shimmer, which I had on the lid. And then for my inner corner highlight, I used this Transformer shade. So I really liked how this look came out. These are definitely fun colors to work with. I love doing bright shadows, and this was definitely a bright look. So I'm glad I got to play with this palette in the first week because I hadn't for a little while. And that's kind of what the project's all about. In the second week, I used the Alamar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette volume 1, and this was a little more challenging to find a new and original look that I hadn't created yet because I have used all the shades in this palette. I did do 3 looks 1 palette with this, but I do think I did come up with a unique look compared to what I've done before. So I started with this yellow shade in the transition. I went into my crease with this brown shade here, which actually can be diffused quite a bit so it's not so dark as it looks in the pan. Blended out the crease shade with more of the yellow. And then on the outer third of my lid, I went in with this turquoise shade. And then I took this green right here and put that on the inner 2/3 of the lid and went into the champagne shade for the inner corner. So just to give you a visual, this is what the shades look like. Here's the yellow, the brown, the lighter of the 2 teals in the palette, this absolutely freaking fantastic green. I wish I could say the names for you, but I really can't. And then the champagne-y shade right there. So this was fun to play with again. I am surprised, but pleasantly surprised, that I'm still finding new looks to do with this palette since it has just 8 shades. So I really enjoyed working with this again. In case you missed it, this was the palette that I chose for my first year of BoxyCharm. I got quite a few palettes from BoxyCharm in 1 year, so I'm gonna link that video in case you did miss it. But this, you know, spoiler alert, this was my #1 favorite palette that I got from BoxyCharm this year, so this puppy ain't going nowhere. And then in week 3, I got to play with the Lorac Unzipped Ocean Sunset palette. I love this. I love the Lorac formula. You guys know that, or if you don't, I love the Lorac formula. And this color story has always spoken to me. This is exactly what it says in my opinion. It's called Ocean Sunset. The shade names are fantabulous. And I was really glad to have been able to play with this palette last week, and so I'm gonna swatch a few and tell you about the look that I created. All right, so in week 3, these were the shades that I used. These are gonna be kind of hard to see here, but first I went into the crease with this shade right here called High Tide. It's a nice true rose color and it looks stunning in the crease, and you're gonna see it come back today in today's look. And then I went in and blended that out with this lighter dusty rose shade called Sundown. And then I went in on the outer third or so of my lid, as I usually do, with this shade right here called Ocean Floor. It's kind of a warm brown shimmer, very, very buttery and smooth. And then I deepened up the outer V just a little bit with this matte brown called Bedrock. And then this shade right here, I'm gonna give you a finger swatch so you can see, is called Mother of Pearl. And this is what it looks like. Let's see if we can build it up here. Ooh, there we go. So there's that one. And then the last shade that I used is the shade Saltwater, which is this aqua blue shade right here. It's very, very sheer, much more of a topper shade. Golly, I don't know what to do about this ring light to show you, but here you can see that it's green. And I had never used that before as an inner corner highlight. I tend to use the Mother of Pearl shade as an inner corner highlight and a brow bone highlight. So this was really fun, especially because it was like a pink and brown sort of neutral look, and this was a fun little pop of turquoise on the inner corner, and it just caught the light, and I ended up really liking that look. All right, so going in for the 4th look, which is the look I'm wearing today, I started out with the Ruark Ocean Sunset palette. I went in first with the shade High Tide, which I did in week 3 with that look, and then blended it out again with this shade right here called Sundown. And then this is kind of hard to see, but I did take the shade Mother of Pearl, the white shade, and use that as a brow bone highlight and an inner corner highlight right there. And then I did take the Champagne shade from the Alamar palette called La Costa and put that over the 2/3, the inner 2/3 of my lids. I can't speak today. And then these 2 shades came from the Back to Brazil palette. I started deepening up the outer corner with this deeper pink shade right here. And I blended that almost all the way into where the Champagne shade ends. And then I took this matte sort of orchid purple shade and just put that at the very, very outer corner of the eye. So I thought that was really fun. I loved this soft and feminine kind of pink look that came out of it. And overall, I thought it was fun. These are 3 somewhat colorful palette. Probably the least colorful palette is the Ruark Ocean Sunset. But overall, I mean, these are all not really neutral palettes. Not that I like or stick with neutrals, but it was a challenge to take so many colors and sort of zone in on, you know, what I wanted to create. So that is my update. And now we get into the fun part where we pick 3 more palettes for the next 30 days. Alrighty, here we are on We'll Decide. I am confident that my wheel is updated and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and spin. Tarte Clay Play Volume 1, alrighty. Urban Decay Distortion palette. Thank God. And the Bad Habit Athena palette. Alrighty, I'm going to pull those real quick and then we'll come right back. All right, so The reason I said thank God about the Urban Decay Distortion palette is because this is the Tarte Clay Play palette. Ugh, I'm sorry, the packaging is difficult, but you know, it's all neutrals here, including face and eye shades. I have not delved into this palette for a long time because how do real YouTubers do this? I have not used this for a long time. All right, I'm so done with this. I have not used this for a long time. I really loved it when I got it. It was perfect because I had every transition and crease shade I could need, whether warm or cool toned. And I still think that way about this palette. It's just that I kind of bought it in a naive way, not realizing that so many palettes do come with some standard neutrals in order to build a look. And I've also learned that you don't need neutrals necessarily to build a full look. So I'll be glad to dive back into this. It will be really interesting because I don't normally do an all matte look. So we'll see how that goes. And then the Urban Decay Distortion palette I just played with recently when Angela picked my makeup, my bestie picked my makeup challenge. And so this is what that palette looks like. These are all Transformer shades up here. As you layer them over the different colors, you get a different kind of shift and just interest to the eye look. I think there's like endless combinations in here, so I'll be really excited to play with this again in week 2. And last is the Bad Habit Athena palette, which I don't think I've actually spoken on and like on my channel yet. I had ordered this a while ago from Shop Hush when I ordered the Atlantis palette. You can see, you know, I've tried it and whatnot. I just haven't done a 3 looks 1 palette or review on this one yet. Let me know if you're still interested. So I will be really excited to play with this in week 3, and this should be interesting, combining all of these palettes in week 4. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series because it's gonna be a long haul to get through all of my palettes, and I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful makeup days. I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!